Hello, welcome. In the previous chapters, we have learned how to install Jmeter as well as creating a first test plan in Jmeter, and we have also learned some of the basic options and features of Jmeter. In this lecture, let us learn about listeners in Jmeter. Listeners are those elements of Jmeter which we can use for viewing the results of the performance test. Listener will capture the information about the performance test executed. You can view the performance test results and matrices using the listener. Let me open the Jmeter. To open the Jmeter, let me open the terminal first. Then let me go to the location of the Jmeter bin folder and give a command sh space jmeter.sh. It will open the Jmeter. Let me quickly create a test plan in the Jmeter. Test plan listener demo. Okay, let me add the thread group. Add a thread group is nothing but users. Let us say users. It means number of threads equal to, let me give 5. Ramp up period is 5. Let me give that, and then let me add the sampler HTTP request. HTTPS www.blazedemo.com, and so we have added the, let me save the test plan. And so let me add the listener here. Let the first listener is view result tree. View result tree listener will give a details of your request as well as response. Let us run this test, and so we have given 5 threads, so 5 requests, all are successful. Result tree listener is useful for troubleshooting as well as finding certain issues, but whenever you are running a full-fledged load testing or whatever types of performance testing, you are not recommended to use this, as this will consume a lot of memory, and it will have an impact on your testing. So for the initial verification and checking purpose, this can be used and it is helpful. So let us see the response. See the request, it has sent a request, whatever the URL we have given is displayed in the request. Then the response data, so response is also displayed here. So response body, response headers, and here it will give a response code as 200, response message okay. It will provide the full details along with the request and response. So this is one of the important types of listener which is frequently used whenever you want to do certain troubleshooting or debugging purpose. It will be very helpful. So this is the result, this is the request, and this is the response data. So again, response data, it will have response headers and response body. So this is about this listener. Let us look at one more types of listener, that is called view results in table. Listener view result in table. So let me run the test again. So this is how data is displayed. For this is the first column represents the sampler number, means the first request, second request, it will be a sequence number in the increasing order. So this is the start time of the test. This is a thread name. It means user 1 hyphen 1 means it is the first iteration for the first user. This is the user 1. It means first iteration for user number 2. Similarly, this is the first iteration for user number 3. This is first iteration for user number 4, so on. And this label specifies the type of request. It is a HTTP request. Sample time means it is a response time for this request. Status, it is a green color, it means it is a success. If it is a failure, it will display here in red color. Byte is the data that is being received. This column bytes indicates the size of the data in bytes which is received as a response. And sent bytes, this is the request size of the request which is sent. Latency is time taken to receive the first or a first byte. It means, let us say you have a here, let us say here is the time 0. Here client will send the request. Let us say client send the request, and it will let us say here 100 millisecond is the request is received a request, and let us say processing time of 10 millisecond. Then it will be 100 plus 10, 110 millisecond, and it will send the response to the back to the client in another, let us say 10 millisecond. It means 100 for a request, 10 millisecond for processing, another 10 millisecond to reach the client, the response. It means the first byte is received in 100 plus 10 plus 10, 120 millisecond. Latency refers to number of milliseconds between the time Jmeter sent the request and when the initial response was received. Not complete response, but the initial response is received. That is called latency. Time for sending the request. Time to send request is 100 millisecond, and time to process is 10 millisecond, and time when first response received will take another 10 millisecond. Time to receive first response, it means 100 plus 10 plus 10 equal to 120 millisecond is the latency. So at the 0th second the request is sent, it will reach the server at 100 millisecond, and processing will take another 10 millisecond, and send response will take another 10 millisecond. So all three together will take 120 millisecond is called latency. This is where the first byte of response is received, not the complete response. Remember, that is the difference between latency and the response time. Response time is the complete response is received. Time taken to receive the complete response is called response time. Latency means when the first byte of the response is received from the time when the request is sent to the server. Let us understand about one more types of sampler listener, which is called aggregate report. Let me run so that I can get the data here. So it keeps increasing here till all the responses are completed. Yes, all are completed. So label is a type of request which is HTTP. Total number of samples is 5. It means we have added 5 threads here. That is why it is also showing 5 here samples. average time. It is the average time, response time for receiving the, it means how it is calculated means total, add up all time taken by all the samplers divided by 5. It is an average response. The median is 702 millisecond. It means there are 50% of the requests have a less than 702 millisecond as a response time, and remaining 50% of the responses have a more than 702 millisecond as a response time. 90% of the line is, it means 90% of the requests have a response time less than 731 millisecond. 95% of the line, it means 95% of the requests have a response time less than 3659 millisecond, and 99% of the line means 99% of the requests have a response time of less than 3659. So minimum is, the minimum response time recorded by any of the thread or a user is 451. Maximum response time is 3659, which is taken by uh, some of the threads in this thread group. And throughput, requests that can be processed per minute, 52.9. This is the average number of requests per minute which can be processed is 52.9. Here it is received data in kilobytes, 4.1 kilobit. The received data in response. Sent data is 0.01 kilobyte. So this is the interpretation of the aggregate report. We have learned three different types of listeners now. View result tree, which will give the complete details of the request and response, and it can be useful for debugging and troubleshooting purpose. And whenever you are using whenever you are running a full-fledged performance testing, it is not recommended to use this as it will take lot of memory. And we have also learnt about view result tree and meaning of each of these uh, items in the table. Similarly, we have learnt about aggregate report. We have some more listeners to learn. We will learn that in the part 2 of this listener lecture. Thank you.